Hello and welcome. So today should be an interesting show, if nothing else. We're going to attempt to do our first live onboarding for Bison Relay. We've currently started the process now, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Just one brief word. I'm going to get a background for this. I've just got a green screen on order, which should be quite interesting. Hopefully, we should have a bit more of a kind of interesting background going on for future weeks. So all advice from the last show taken on board, and hopefully that will kind of improve the quality. Before we go any further, let's roll the intro and let's have a look at. So let's bring up our Bison Relay screen and show you where we're currently at. So I've just sent the user in question an invite key. So it's prepaid. I've sent him 0.2 DCR. So that should allow him to fund, or them to fund 0.1 in their outbound channel and 0.1 in their inbound channel. So they're going to be able to receive tips straight away. Now, the interesting thing about the invite is that it's going to automate the whole process, but it does take a little bit of time. So it takes approximately 3 confirmations for the on-chain fund. So that 0.2 is an on-chain transfer. So from my wallet to his wallet. So that's going to take 3 confirmations. And then the next automated process is the opening of the outbound channel, the Lightning Network outbound channel. That's also going to take 3 confirmations. And then finally, we have the inbound channel, which should also take 3 confirmations. So we've got 9 confirmations, roughly about 30 minutes to 45 minutes for the onboarding process to happen. And we can watch this in real time. So if you look at this screen here, you'll notice that we have the invite code, which I've already sent out and he's already pasted in, but we also have the transaction that we can follow. So currently the transaction got sent out about 10 minutes ago and it's still unconfirmed. So we are waiting for that first confirmation to come through. Now, if I go over to another screen, just give me 2 seconds. So stop streaming that one. Unfortunately, I can only present one screen at a time, which is a bit of a bummer. But what I want to show you is the on-chain stuff. So let's show this window here. So here it is. Here's the block explorer, and this is the transaction we're waiting for. So as you can see, the transaction's been there for 10 minutes. So although this confirmation is taking a little bit longer, once that one comes through, the next one should go slightly quicker. So they kind of average themselves out to 5 minutes ago. And if we look at the block explorer itself, we'll notice actually it's literally just gone through 35 seconds ago. And then the block before that was 12 minutes ago. So if we go back, and then we refresh, we didn't even need to refresh the page. You see, we've now got our first confirmation. So we've got 2 more confirmations for the user to receive the funds. And if you're watching, let us know how you're getting on. And obviously, as this processes, we'll be able to see where they're at in the actual steps anyway. So we'll come back to the onboarding process. Like I say, it gets a little bit dull if we just watch the whole thing. It will take 45 minutes, but this is all automated. So once I send that invite key, and once the user actually pastes it into the invite part of the Bison Relay, the rest of it is pretty much all automated. It's just literally waiting for confirmations on the blockchain. So one thing I'd like to start this particular channel with is the idea that everyone listening to this is a new user. They've never used Decred before, and they want to know what Decred is all about and why we might be so passionate about it. So my elevator pitch today is the idea of sound governance, the idea that the governance is built around the coin holder. Now, I've been reading a book, and I forget who the writer is. It's called Republic, and it's Socrates' student. And for the life of me, I've forgotten his name, and I always do this. But this book talks about how to build a city, how to build a new city around certain values, and it talks about who should be in control of certain elements of that city, and who should be able to do certain things and have the power, and how things should be presented. The interesting thing about this is the approach that Decred has taken. They said, look, we want to try governance. Governance is going to be fundamental to the project as a whole. But how do we want to build that governance? How do we want to build our city? How do we want to build our sovereign state? And this is the whole concept. It is about building a sovereign state. So some of the first principles that they said is, look, we want sound money. We want this idea of a 21 million max cap, but we also want the coin holders to be the governors, the people that govern the city, that govern the state. And it should be the coin holders, the ones that have the most to lose, that actually have the final say. So that's a system that Decred has built. And if you believe in these principles, then Decred is definitely worth looking into, because it is a sound money, just like Bitcoin. It has that 21 million cap, but it has this added bonus of having a governance system that is controlled by the stakeholders, by the coin holders. And every time that a coin holder sees something that they don't like, sees something, hey, that's going against our best interest, they can put up a vote and say, hey, we want to change the consensus. We want to change the consensus because this particular entity is working against our best interest. Or they can say, hey, we want to improve the consensus. We want to add this fundamental bit of infrastructure. Now, in any other system, in Bitcoin particularly, if you want to add a bit of infrastructure, you're probably going to find yourself needing to hard fork. And if the miners that control the system do not agree with that hard fork, they can create what's called a chain split, where one side of the chain goes off with the new upgrade, and the other side of the chain goes off with the old upgrade. And we've seen this many, many times. We've seen it with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin BTC. We've seen it with Bitcoin SV, which is Satoshi's vision. We've seen it a whole bunch of times. There's a new one called eCash, I think it is. And every time someone wants to improve it, you end up with these chain splits. Now, one of the things that Decred did with its governance is, actually, fact, we don't want chain splitting. We want the community, or the coin holders, not the community, because the community can fracture however it wants, it doesn't matter. But the coin holders, we want them to be in lockstep with each other, and we want them to have the final say. So one of the things that Decred did is said, hey, let's have a consensus vote where we basically choose to upgrade or we choose not to upgrade based on, I think it's 75% of the consensus vote. If 75% choose to upgrade, the vote happens, the upgrade happens, and effectively the old chain is killed off in one easy sweep. Everyone has to follow it. So we don't have this idea of chain splitting. Every time we want to upgrade, the coin holders vote, and it either happens or it doesn't. And we keep the sovereign state, the coin holder state, intact in that respect. And this is what is so interesting about it. Everything that happens on Decred happens with this idea that only the coin holders matter. If you're a coin holder, you're the only one that matters. And how that happens is through tickets. So we have this ticketing system where at any given moment, 41,000 tickets will be in the ticket pool, and those are the ones that are allowed to vote. And they're allowed to vote on consensus changes. They're allowed to vote on proposals and treasury spending. Everything has to go through them. Not one part of the system doesn't. And this is my elevator pitch for today, although slightly longer than a 10-second elevator pitch. But the idea that coin holders matter, the idea that if you're going to move forward, there should be some kind of governance, and if there is some kind of governance, who are the best people to govern? And that's where we're at. So my elevator pitch for today is good governance that avoids scenarios where people are allowed to chain split, or they're allowed to do things against the will of the coin holder. So we've seen a lot of things happen today, and one of the big pieces of news this week is the Bitcoin conference out in Las Vegas. And I've got a little clip here. So while I take a quick drink of water, I'm gonna put this little clip on from JFK Jr. and we're going to talk about what he says here. And there's a few interesting points that have happened since this interview, which could be fascinating. So here we go. Here's this clip. Hopefully the audio works. Let me know if it doesn't.
Monetary discipline to the Fed, and to restore the dollar as the unchallenged global reserve currency. And just as Bitcoin can fortify the dollar, it can also secure America's position in cyberspace. I understand that tomorrow President Trump may announce his plan to build a Bitcoin Fort Knox and authorize the U.S. government to buy 1 million Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. And I applaud that announcement, and we should all applaud it. I hope that President Trump's commitment to Bitcoin is more than political expediency. The most cynical political reason for endorsing Bitcoin is to excite the 60 million Bitcoin American holders by policies that make the number go. I hope that President Trump and the DNC nominee, who he or she may be, will develop a deeper understanding of the earth-shaking reasons to ensure that Bitcoin in the U.S. Treasury.
So, I mean, that is ridiculously interesting. And Donald Trump went on stage, I think it was a day or two later, to basically confirm that if he gets into power, one of the first things he'll be doing is setting up this strategic reserve in Bitcoin. Um, and whether that's true or not, or whether that actually happens, it's going to be interesting. And one acknowledgement that I think is valid in this particular instance is that people are now acknowledging that Bitcoin in particular matters. It matters. It's going to change the world, and there are a lot of people already using this stuff. And when the election is just around the corner, it's very important that they take advantage of all these people that are feeling hard done by a system that's kind of being attacked left, right, and center. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. One interesting thing about this is I believe now that you will, if Donald Trump is looking to win, you are going to see a lot of nations jumping on this bandwagon and trying to front run the inevitable hike. So if you're going to buy a million Bitcoin, probably over the course of his electoral term, which I believe is 4 years, that's 250,000 Bitcoin a year minimum that will need to be purchased. And that will have the impact of a massive of influx. It'll be interesting to see how they manage to buy that amount personally. What kind of impact will this have on the rest of the market? I don't know. I think at this particular time, it would be silly not to hedge into Bitcoin if this happens. How much? Obviously, this isn't financial advice, and I can't say for sure. But the positive momentum that this will spark is going to be huge. If it goes down this route, you will find nation states like Russia, like China, that will actually jump on this bandwagon as well and say, look, this is likely to be the reserve currency or the digital reserve currency of choice for the next 10, 20 years at least. So it makes no sense for us not to play the game. So yeah, we've got some interesting times ahead of us, and I think that's truly exciting. I'm just looking over to see how our user is getting on. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. So target machine is actively refusing it. Oh dear, what's happening here then? Just give me 2 secs. So we're just looking at the confirmation. So it looks like there may or may not be an issue there. Now, hopefully you're watching this live stream, and you can tell me on our chat if you are. But you just have to wait now. So you just have to wait and be patient. You can see we're still on one confirmation. So the actual funds haven't got passed. So make sure you leave your machine on. Make sure that you don't turn Bison Relay off. In order for the invite to work, we both have to be active on chain at the same time. So it is a waiting game, and like I said, we're just looking for these confirmations, and once we get to that 3 confirmations, it will move on to the next step. So yeah, just be patient here. I can't see anything else there that's stopping it. So attempting to bootstrap. Yeah, attempting to bootstrap. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Those are just generic messages. And he says, yes, I'm live. So let me just refresh this page. So maybe it's not updating on my screen. No, we are waiting. Look, the actual confirmation it's been 12 minutes, 24 minutes since the last one. So we are just waiting for the blocks to come in, unfortunately. So yes, cool. So hopefully, if you're watching this, give me the thumbs up in our chat, and I'll keep coming back to this, and we'll see where we're at. But we just have to be patient with that at the minute. So just leave your machine on, and hopefully before the end of today's show, we'll kind of get onto that, which would be cool. Let me just cancel out this one. So let me remove that one, and let me bring up Bison Relay again. Sorry about this. It takes just a couple of seconds to switch screens over. So if I come out of this now, if you are on Bison Relay and you want to send me a question, or you want to send me a link, and you want to talk about any of this stuff, please do so, and do it on the Decred channel, which is this one here, which is the Decred Today channel. If I close that, you can now join this channel. Anyone can now join this channel if you are connected to GC bot, and all you need to do is click on here. You can say list. So if you type in the word list into this chat box and just wait a couple of seconds, it will tell you which groups are available for you to join. Now in our list, and you see I've run this a few times just because it took me a little bit of time to get the Decred Today channel up. So now if you type invite and then a space and then type in exactly this here and then press enter, you'll actually be able to join that group. It won't work for me, obviously, because I'm already part of that. But if I do it with a different group, so if I do it with welcome, so I just copy welcome in there and then paste that in and then press enter, what you should see is after a few seconds, you should see an invite piece of code saying, hey, would you like to join? Would you like to accept the invite? And then you can join the group. So here's my invite there. So I can just press accept. And that gets me into the group. And in a moment, you'll see it turn up here on the left-hand side. And then we can start talking with people in that particular channel. But the mission here is once you join the Decred Today group, go back to here. Once you join that, if you want to send me a link to some news that you think is interesting, or if you want to send me a comment, please do so. And what I will do in return is I will click on this button here and I will pay you guys a tip. Okay, so we will pay you guys a tip of 0.01, so not very much at the minute, but just for your contribution. I'll show you how the tipping service works, and you can see that completes within a fraction of a second. Now, before you do that, you do need to make sure that you have enough inbound liquidity. So over here on the left-hand side, if you click on the LN Management tab, up here you can see how much you can receive. So if you are just sending messages, you won't need an inbound channel. But if you want to receive tips, if you want to receive Lightning payments, you do need to make sure that the max receivable is going to be above what I send you. So for instance, if someone wanted to send me 0.1 DCR, it would pass. It would go through. 0.01 will obviously go through, no problem at all, and it will pass in a second. If this bit here doesn't show that amount, then what you're going to need to do is open up a new inbound channel. So if we head on down to the channels post here, and my new user, you do not need to do this. This is what the prepaid thing is already doing. So once we get to those free confirmations, let me just see where we're at right now. We're now at 4 confirmations. So the outbound channel has now started for you. So you should be on the next part of the process. So you're now looking at the outbound channel. So that's what the process. So this is going to set up my outbound channel first, and then it's going to set up the inbound channel. And what you just need to make sure is that you have funds in these. And if you've not got funds, you've got a couple of options. Or if you're running low on funds, you've got a couple of options. You can say, right, well, I'm just going to open a new inbound channel and get a new one started so that they can overlap with each other. Now, the biggest problem I have, and if I've got a dev watching this, I think this is something we need to address, is I can't tell without kind of knowing that I've loaded up my inbound channel with more with more liquidity than I did my outbound channel. Without seeing these numbers and knowing that for myself, it's actually very difficult for a user to see which channel is which. It'd be really nice to have something for each of these channels that says, hey, this is your inbound channel. So when it comes to closing and opening or having multiple channels open, you say, all right, this is my inbound channel. Well, I won't close just yet because I've got a little bit of funds left, but instead I'm going to open up a new channel and I'm going to populate it with as much funds as I need. Now, remember, this is Lightning. This is not on-chain transactions. So when you are populating funds into a channel, you really don't want to put loads and loads and loads of funds into it. You don't want to put 10 DCR into it because it's not, well, it's secure, but it's not as secure as an on-chain transaction. There are still risks involved. And that's why we say, look, let's just keep this simple, keep this low. If you're putting 0.2, 0.4, 0.5, there's no worries. No one's gonna grumble over 10 quid or whatever. But you really don't want to be putting much more into that. And the other thing is if you try and put 100 DCR in, there probably isn't the liquidity available for that. So what if you are a big spender and you want to, if you're a shop owner or something and you want a liquidity channel that has 100 DCR, you're probably better off setting up that infrastructure for yourself so you can actually you don't need the extra middleman step. And remember, when you are setting up an inbound channel, that there is a middleman sat there, and it does cost 1% of the amount that you're kind of channeling through that service. That does cause concerns for some people but what it does is it reduces the complexity of these things by giving a middleman a 1% fee to pass liquidity so you can actually receive funds. Actually reduces a lot of the complexity. And at this particular moment, that is a trade-off that most people are willing to accept, especially with these small amounts of funds. It is one of the funny things about the Lightning Network. And although you can set up your own you can set yourself up as a liquidity provider, so you don't have to pay this fee. It's very technical for most people. It's too much. Okay, so setting up this way is okay. Bison Relay also acts as an on-chain platform as well. So if you like we said with that first transaction with the onboarding, and here's the transaction here that I've just sent our user. This is all done on chain. So we have DCRD built into Bison Relay, so we can do on-chain transactions, but we can also do Lightning transactions. So we have the benefit of hyper secure on-chain transactions, and we also have the benefit of speedy, cheap Lightning transactions, and they are cheap. There's no ifs or buts. A Lightning transaction, it costs 1 atom, which is 8 decimal places. It's our smallest amount. So if I highlight this bit here, it's just one of these, 1 atom. It's our smallest fraction, and you can send a payment for 1 atom, and it clears in less than a second. So having the best of both worlds is great. So if you're doing small transactions, Lightning Network every single day of the week. If you're buying a cup of coffee, Lightning Network every single day of the week. If you are, buying a house, buying a car, buying something slightly more substantial, on-chain transactions, keep it hyper secure. Now, if you're not in this particular chat, our users in, look, let me just see. I'm going to send this guy another tip in a moment. So we've got 6 confirmations. His inbound channel, your inbound channel isn't quite ready yet. So you still got another 3. You still got another 3 confirmations, but you have turned up. So this here is our user, and they've sent us a message, onboard completed. Yet not quite. You do have to wait for the inbound. And once I see 9 confirmations here, I will send you a tip, and you should be able to receive it, and all is good. Yes, just be patient. If you want to see that you're still onboarding, if you head on over to the Lightning Network channel and you go to your channels, you should see a pending message next to the one that's still going. So yeah, be patient with that. But in the meantime, let's get you connecting with people. The first thing I'm going to get you connected with is this GC bot. So if I click on your name, and I say suggest user to KX with, and I should be able to find a GC bot in here somewhere. Where are you? There it is. So I'm going to suggest that they connect to a GC bot. And when they do, they'll be able to kind of connect with other groups. So let's suggest this one now. And you can go through this process and join groups without an inbound channel. But I can't send you a tip until we have that inbound channel complete. So hopefully you've got that. You can send us a message if you like to tell us you've got that. You can also, so for instance, if you click on the user's name here, you can also say subscribe to user's post. So because I sent in the invite, it looks like I'm instantly subscribed to the posts. So if I go over to the news feed and they post something like I've done here, they'll be able to subscribe. So another way you guys can get a tip if you want to is add a comment to my latest post, exchange shenanigans. We haven't even got onto that yet. We're already, what are we, 30 minutes into the show and we haven't even got onto the exchange shenanigans that's been happening this week. So hopefully we'll have enough time. But if you add a comment here, I will send you a tip for it as well. So there's two ways. If you don't particularly want to join the new group, the Decred Today group, and send bits here, you can also do it on the the news feed. So what does it say? Yes, I got it. Just accepted. Fantastic. So what you can do now, if you're watching live, you can head on over to GCBot, and if you just type in list here, so just type in the word list, all lowercase, and then press this little button here or press enter, you'll get this list, and you can join any of these groups. Now, the ones that are pretty active, the Bison Relay channel is active, and this is where you can post any comments. If you've got feedback about this whole process, so if you thought something was a little bit glitchy during the setup, something that you thought could be improved on, send it to the Bison Relay channel. If you've loved the setup, if you found it really, really cool and really quick, because that has taken us about 45 minutes since I sent you the invite, which is about right. It's normal time. Give the guys a comment. That one thing we don't see enough in our chat is positive feedback for the devs. These guys have built this tech, built in Lightning Network, which was no small thing. In my personal opinion, it's the best Lightning Network product currently available. Is absolutely amazing. Send them a comment. Send them a comment on Bison Relay and say, look, this onboarding process was second to none. Me and Phoenix, we literally just I gave you the key, pasted it in, boom. Give them some feedback. If there's anything you think can be improved, give them some feedback. Another one that's quite popular is the trading channel. And although it only says 33 members and 23 members, it's also interesting to know that these are bridge channels. So in the actual channel on Telegram and on Matrix, there's like, I don't know, 500 or 600 people all communicating, and your messages will go to those channels as well. And they'll also sit in the in Bison Relay and be communicated there. The welcome channel is a good one to get started with. So if you want to connect with other users, that's a great one to get started with. If you're a Monero fan, there's the Monero channel there. And I suspect my good friend Squirrel has probably got a Zcash channel as well. So if you're interested in that, why not go there? And obviously there's the Decredit Today channel that you should paste in and join. To just press, at that point, you can just press invite followed by Decred Today, and then press enter and accept the invite. Let's see if you get into there. Let's see how our confirmations come. So we're at 8 confirmations. We've got one more to go, and then I can send you a tip, and you'll have enough to receive that tip, which is actually absolutely great. But how have you found it so far? Send us a comment. Let us know how you're getting on, how you found it. Whilst we do that, I'm going to come out of that. But if you guys have any questions, obviously send them to the Decred Today channel, and I will send you a tip. Let's head back over to our final piece of news, I think. So let me turn this screen off. Turn this one on. Gosh, so much work. I might even set up a second computer, just so I can flick between them more easy. There we go. So yeah, there's our 8 confirmations. So we are just waiting for one more, and then I'll show you a live tip again. So exchange shenanigans this week, and I found out a little bit more, but it's interesting that how many people didn't want to discuss the fact that there's some real dodgy stuff happening on centralized exchange at the minute. As it turned out, this particular 100 million volume posted to the Decred channel was posted by an exchange called OKX. Coincidentally, they're the same exchange that currently sponsor the McLaren team, so they clearly got some funds there to play with, which is quite interesting. Oh, just checking the other chat. So Jason Henson says we are here. Jason, don't forget to use your account on Bison Relay. Send us a comment there, and I'll make sure you get tipped for it. Yeah, he's just put a comment here. The devs never get any respect, and Decred devs are some of the best. You're all much appreciated, even though we don't tell you as much as we probably should. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, the majority of our Decred devs, which the core team seems to be between 6 and 8 individuals, maybe more, that come in and out, have been with the project since day one. Now, in most projects, that's actually ridiculously rare. You know, for a dev, for a core dev, real high level dev, to stick around for what's effectively 10 years is absolutely really impressive. And the fact that Decred has built out all of the infrastructure that was originated in that first roadmap is absolutely amazing. And peer-to-peer blockchain technology is very much still alive and well with Decred. Obviously, there's still improvements, like the Lightning Network. We've got to a certain point where we're still reliant on a couple of middlemen, like say the liquidity providers and the BR hubs, which really help streamline the whole process. But most of it is now peer-to-peer. I mean, the latest improvement with Decred 2 is absolutely astonishing. The way that they've made peer-to-peer mixing straight out of your wallet. So you go to Decrediton, and maybe next week I'll show you Decrediton, and I'll show you some mixing, because it's absolutely amazing, where you can just hit the mix button and boom, you are mixing peer-to-peer with other peers using private mempools from each of the DCRD instances built directly into the wallet software, which, yeah, absolutely amazing. Anyway, back to my shenanigans. 100 million was posted. If I just bring this up, and barely anything was mentioned. And it was really interesting that most people now accept this as the absolute norm, that most people think, 100 million is people manipulating centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges is not a problem. Now, the reason it caught my idea, and this post will tell you, is actual fact they're posting 100 million, but our actual market cap is actually only 150 million. That's 16 million coins. Actually only equates to 150 million, and they're posting order books of 100 million, which is absolutely bizarre. And the amount of times that they must have to pass backwards and forwards to kind of generate that is absolutely ridiculous. But it becomes even more interesting when you realize that in the total amount of DCR available is actually less than, probably considerably less than 4 million. And this is easily proven. So if we come over to the blocks, I'll send you a tip in a moment. So we're done with this transaction. Your inbound channel should be all set up. Give us a thumbs up if you're all good to go, and I'll head back over there in a second and send you that tip. But this is easily provable. And I don't know, maybe it's just laziness on these people's parts that they, and it seems more menacing than maybe it is. I don't know. But if you look at this is practically 10 million that is staked. Now, for anyone that doesn't follow Decred, that can't move for up to 144 days. So Decred staking on average is 28 days. So each ticket bought, which is current price of a ticket, is 245 DCR. That can't move for an average of 28 days, but up to 144 days. And if we look at the chart for the DCR pool, you'll notice it hasn't moved. We can zoom right in to the last month, and it literally hasn't moved. 61% or thereabout has been in the ticket pool for all that time. It hasn't moved. Nobody's selling. That's my point here, is all of this core amount, nobody's selling. It's not going anywhere. And the total supply is this one here. So we've got 16 million, 10 isn't going anywhere. Another 1 million can't move. So we've basically got 11 million that can't be moved. Recently, about a month ago, Dave C run a request on DCRD that basically asked the network how many coins haven't been moved in the last in the last 5 years, and it came back that there is over 1 million coins that haven't been moved in the last 5 years. So you've got, once you see this 11, you then got to add another 1 million that haven't even been moved for the last 5 years, and it all becomes really, really interesting. And even on the current volume, there's so much room for shenanigans here. And it blows my mind, because even volume, even Decred volume at this price here, $12, Decred volume of say 1,000 DCR is going to move this needle. When someone buys and someone sells all at the same time, it's going to move the needle at this point. And that's why, I mean, I got a little bit kind of not, maybe I didn't say it publicly, but I got a little bit annoyed about this, because it just doesn't seem that anyone really appreciates I don't know, the nonsense that's going on. I suppose X has actually posted here about it was the OKX stuff, which is absolutely right. It did come from the OKX stuff, which was, them having that amount of volume is an absolute nonsense, really. There was another one here. Tivra basically said this happened before. Nothing new here. And I was debating whether this was actually the market maker bot in 2020. I don't think it was actually. So once again, you've got this price range of between, and I wrote here, you got a price range in this area here of $7 to $14, and someone is faking, and at the time, the coin supply would have been about 13 million. So even less coin supply, and they're faking 100 million worth of volume. It's like, well, you must be passing that coin backwards and forwards like crazy to kind of make that happen. It's nonsense. And to kind of to bring a close this, and I know people don't like to talk about the exchange and all the nonsense that's happening, but I'm pretty sure that every crypto that isn't in the top 10 is experiencing this shenanigans and is seeing their price ripped out from underneath their feet because of these cretins, if you like. And that's why we're building DCRDEX. That's why we're building Bison Wallet. Let's build our own real volume. Let's show what this looks like. Rather than, if you're gonna post $1 million quid worth of buys, do it on chain so everyone can see, and let's see what that does to the needle. All of this nonsense of centralized exchanges passing backwards and forwards on their own order books, that's not crypto. That's not real. That's not something I want to get involved in. Let's do it on DCRDEX, which is one reason we might not be able to do Decrediton next week, is because we are very, very close to DCRDEX or Bison Wallet version 1 being released. My expectation is it might be later this week. They've just finished the bug reports for the release candidate 1, and they're putting together release candidate 2. So once they fix those user reported bugs, release candidate 2 will be out, and then shortly after that we should see that release. But by all accounts, the bugs that I've been seeing on the Matrix channels have been very, very minor, very, very minor. Jason has said not set up yet on mobile. So yeah, we've also got the mobile releases coming soon. I'm going to try and change the timings of this show around so as many people as possible can participate and get involved. I'm going to kind of move it left and right, and so sometimes I might do it late evening, sometimes I might do it early morning. But the whole mission is to get people involved, get people talking, get people using the Decred products. Let me come out of here. Let me send our new user a tip. So stop streaming that. Let's go back to Bison Relay. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this. I hope you guys have kind of got some stuff out of this, but I would definitely be interested in your feedback. I would definitely be interested in knowing what you guys think about these products. And if you want to come on the show and you want to talk about, any of this stuff or stuff that you've got in the works, send me an invite, and I can send you an invite to the live stream. I can get you on the live stream live, and we can talk through this stuff. That's really what Decred today is about. It's about talking through stuff that might not be quite appropriate for the narrative, if you like. It's stuff that we can talk about, stuff we can talk about openly, and get some community engagement. Now is the time to use this stuff. Now is the time to kind of go, right, we're at a point of time where crypto actually works, where Decred actually works, where there's some fantastic products happening live. Oh, what should it say here then? So, how should I know the inbound channel is set up? Yes, this is exactly what I was saying earlier. In actual fact, it's the max receivable. Wow, that's a lot. Is that mine? Something's not quite right there, unless you've populated more funds into your receivable channel. But if you want to see it, what I tend to do, if I go over to the LN tab and then go down to channels, see, this is what we need. We need something that says this is your inbound channel, this is your outbound channel, because it's not very clear actually, and it's something I would like to see. But what I do is I populate my inbound channel with slightly more. So this is my inbound channel, and I know because it's got 0.5 in it. And then this is my outbound channel, and I know because it's got 0.2. But that's literally the only way I can see which one is which, is because I change the amount that goes into each. Let's send you a tip, and let's just see if this works. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to click on your name. I'm going to say pay tip, and I'm going to say 0.01. And we're going to pay. So hopefully, all being well, it should say, yep, sending. And then all of a sudden, it should say, boom, it's gone through. So requesting invoice, and all being well, that should pop up with another message in just a second. There it is. Successfully completed. So that's working. Your inbound channel is working. Your outbound channel is working. You have been fully onboarded. I haven't seen you join a group yet. Oh, yes, I have. Here we go. And you are in the group. Send us a message on the group just to show us that you're live and well. And obviously feel free to join others. And yep, you've joined this group as well, which is absolutely brilliant. You should send the world a public message to declare that you are now a Bison Relay user. And that's absolutely amazing. And you can obviously, once you join more groups, anyone in that group that is online, you can then start connecting with. So what I would suggest to new users is join a group, and then just leave your machine running. Leave your machine running for a little bit of time, maybe an hour or two. And then you'll start to see new users populate. Now, if you're not connected with a user and you're in a channel, so say for instance, you're in the Decred Today channel and you're not connected with a user, you won't see their messages. It's one of the funny things about this is until you're connected, you won't see their messages. And what sometimes happens is it looks like you've got somebody talking to themselves. And it's like Phoenix, who are you talking to? It's like, oh yeah, I'm just talking to such and such. But if you want to start connecting more people, you do need to leave the platform on for slightly longer. Any other questions? Let's just have a little look. But I think we're basically done. That brings us to about 45 minutes. But once again, I'll just stay on for a couple more seconds. If you guys have got any questions, if you guys have got any thoughts, and you want to post a comment, I will send you a tip. If you want to be included in the show in future weeks, obviously send us, just let me know. And what I'll do is on Bison Relay, I'll send you the invite. So we'll do it all here on Bison Relay, and we'll show that this stuff works. I think that probably brings us to the end. Is there anything else that I've missed? So next week we'll continue to onboard people with Bison Relay, but we're also hoping to do Decrediton, so show you how Decrediton works, show you how the live mixing works. Also hoping to do DCRDEX or Bison Wallet once. I want Bison Wallet version 1. I won't do that obviously until it's fully released, and I've kind of tested it. But the idea with that is that we get a few people on and we start just trading between each other. And we just show how it works. And if we do something like a Decred to Litecoin pair or Decred to USDC over Polygon, the actual trading fees are practically zero. So I'll lose a bit of money and I'll send you a really good trade, and we'll start trading between ourselves just so we can see how this stuff works, so we can demonstrate this stuff, so we can kind of say, look, we need to build our own volume. We're the people that want this stuff. You need to use it, and that's what Decred today is all about. It's about getting you guys to use the stuff. If you have any questions, if you're not sure how something works, give me a shout and I will go through it on this channel, and we will go through that. Other than that, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we're going to have a special guest. We're hoping to onboard the Desert Lynx if he's still up for it. So fingers crossed the Desert Lynx will join the show live next week, and we will onboard him in much the same way that we've onboarded today's user. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate you doing that live. I really appreciate you getting involved and just demonstrating how easy this is. And he's just said, wow, thank you for the tip. I joined Decred today, but it hasn't appeared on the sidebar yet. Yes, sometimes you have to close Bison Relay and reopen it, and then when you reopen it, it comes back. But my absolute pleasure. It's been a real pleasure, guys. Any improvements, anything that you can think of, just let me know, and we're going to make that happen. That's what it's all about. Take care, all.